Shubhamangalam, I am Karthikeya from 9th standard. Today I am going to tell about laws of motion. So, who discovered laws of motion? It was Sir Isaac Newton who discovered all these laws of motion when he was at the age of 23. So today we are going to discuss about all the laws of motions. So let us discuss. Sir Isaac Newton proposed his three fundamental laws which explains the connection between the force and a change in motion. These three laws are popularly known as Newton's laws of motion. So there are basically three laws of motion. Uh, First law, second law and the third law, and these laws are also called as Newton's laws of motion. As he proposed them, it is named after him. So these are the three laws of motion, first, second and third. Today we are going to discuss all the three laws of motion. So the first law of motion. What is the first law of motion? Every object will remain at rest or in a state of uniform motion unless compelled to change its state by the action of a net force. This means that an object at rest will remain at rest and an object in motion will remain in its motion until and unless an external force acts on it. That means until an external force is added, the body is going to be in either rest or in motion. If the body is in motion, it will continue in its motion. If the body is at rest, it will be in its rest position. Now let us prove the first law of motion with an example. So the materials required over here is you have to take a glass and a piece of paper and a coin. Now what you are going to do is you have to arrange the glass, paper and the coin like this. You have to place the glass first, and over the glass you have to place the piece of paper, and over the piece of paper you have to place the coin. Now what you have to do is you have to remove the paper rapidly. Now what happens when you remove the paper? The coin is going to fall directly into the glass. Now why is it happening? Now you are moving the paper, then the coin should also move, right? But that's not going to happen. Why? Because you're only moving the paper. You're not doing anything with the coin. You're just moving the paper. So only the paper will move and the coin is at rest. So it will be in its rest. Only the paper is going to move and the coin will directly fall into the glass. Why? Because there is nothing to support there. So the coin will directly fall into the glass and the paper is moved. So this means the coin is at rest and you are moving the paper, so it is in motion. So object at rest will continue being at rest. So by this example, the first law of motion is proved. Now we will discuss about momentum. So what is momentum? The momentum, it is also represented with P. The momentum of a body is simply defined as a product of its mass and its velocity. That is, momentum is equals to mass into velocity. It is also said as mass in velocity. It can be stated as mass in motion. As all objects have mass, if an object is in motion, then it acquires momentum. The SI unit of momentum is kg meters per second, or it can be also represented as n. N here means Newton. As Sir Isaac Newton has spent all his life on doing research about this, it is this SI unit is named after him, right? So momentum is nothing but the mass into velocity. That means if we have an object and the object is in motion, that means it is acquiring momentum. That means it is momentum. Why? Because the object has some mass and it is in motion. So that is why it is called as momentum. So we can get momentum by multiplying the mass and velocity. Now let us move into the next topic. Inertia and mass. What is inertia? Inertia is a property of matter that resists changes in its state of motion or rest. It depends on the mass of the object. The car has more inertia than a bicycle because of its mass. So inertia is nothing but the resistive property of certain object. More the mass, more the inertia. For example, here they have given that a car has more inertia than a bicycle. Why? Because the car has more mass. More mass means more the inertia. If I try to push the car, I won't be able to do it because the car has more mass. That means it has more inertia. Inertia is a resistive property of the object. That means if I am pushing, if I am applying force on the car is going to resist the force and it will be there only. It is not going to move. Why? Because my force is not enough. Now if I try moving a bicycle, I'll be able to do it because the car has less mass. Less mass means less inertia. That means I can easily able to push the bicycle. Now, what is mass? Mass of an object is considered as a measure of inertia. So, we have discussed that the car has more mass. That means mass is nothing but the measure of inertia. More the mass means more the inertia, right? So, the SI unit of mass is kg meters per second. Now, let us move into the next topic. Now the second law of motion. What is second law of motion? The rate of change in momentum of a body is directly proportional to the net force acting on it, and it takes place in the direction of net force. So let me explain this with the help of an example. Now I am going to place a ball on the floor and I am going to give it a gentle kick. What happens? The ball is going to travel some distance. Now in the next case, I am going to kick it hard. The ball is going to travel much longer than the first one. Why? Because I applied some more force than the first case. If I apply more force, the ball is going to travel more distance and it is also going to travel faster. Why? In this case, why it is happening? Because more the force, more the acceleration, right? The second law states that if we apply more force, then the acceleration will be more. Now let us see the force formula. So the force formula is F is equal to m into a. Force is equals to mass into acceleration. Force is a vector quantity as it has both magnitude and direction. Mass is a scalar quantity as it has only weight. Now acceleration is a vector quantity. Why? Because acceleration is nothing but change in velocity. Change in velocity is nothing but a change in speed. That means the body is going to travel some distance and it is also going to travel in particular direction. So acceleration is a vector quantity. Mass, SI unit of mass is kg and the acceleration unit is meter per second square. So if the mass is more, then the acceleration will be less. If we have a heavy object, we can't push it very fastly, right? If we even push it hardly, it will gain some less acceleration. If the mass is decreased, if we have very light object, then we can push it hard, then it will travel some more distance. That means if we increase the mass, then the acceleration decreases. If we decrease the mass, the acceleration increases. Now let's move on to the next. So let us discuss about the second law of motion with the help of an example. We'll prove the second law of motion with the help of an example. So here we have two masses. One is of 400 kg and the other is of 40 kg. A man is trying to push these masses. In this scenario, in the first case, he's trying hard to push the object but he's not able to do it. Why? Because the mass here is more. Mass here is more, then the inertia will also be more. If the inertia is more, then the resistive property is going to be more. Inertia is more means the resistive property is going to be more, and the force that I apply is going to be resisted. That means the body is not going to move. The force will get resisted, right? So in the second case, the weight is less. It is only 40 kg. So the man is going to move it freely because there is less inertia over here because of less mass. Less mass means the resistive property is going to be less, and the man is going to push it very easily because of less inertia. Now let's move to the next. So let us discuss about another example of the second law of motion. Here we have two children. The one is standing on the skateboard and the other tries to push it. First he is trying to push him gently, and the next time is going to push him hard. So when he, in the first case, he travels only some distance, but when this guy pushes him with force, then the second boy is traveling more distance, right? That means if the force is more, then the acceleration will also be more, right? Now let's move on to the next one. So the third law of motion. So what is third law of motion? If one object exerts a force on the other object, the second object exerts a force on the first one with equal magnitude but in opposite direction. In simple words, it is nothing but action is equal to reaction, right? So if we action is going to be equal to the reaction. Let us prove this with the help of an example. Here we have a boy and he's sitting on a chair. Now he is releasing the gas in this direction and he's moving in the opposite direction. Why? Because of the third law of motion. That is, an action will have a reaction, and the action and reaction both are going to be equal. Now let us see another example. So for this, we need a balloon, a straw, and a thread. Now we have to arrange all of them in this like this. We have to arrange the balloon and the straw given in this picture. So we have to inflate the balloon and we have to release it. As soon as we release it, the balloon is going to travel from one point to the other point. Why? Because due to the third law of motion. See, the balloon is going to release the air in this direction and the balloon is going to move in the opposite direction. So I hope you all liked it. Thank you.